Alright, so today we are doing some more retro tech here, and I realized that I have never done a video about the original Xbox One. So this is my personal Xbox One right here. I still use it to this day because it's still totally fine. I mean, it handles all the games just fine, and you know, if you want it, the better graphics and everything, I understand, but this right here gets the job done for me just fine. Now I would take it out of its little cubby right here, but it's a whole lot of wires and things plugged in the back of it, so if I had to take it out, well, it would be a pain to put it all back together. So that's why you're just kind of sitting here looking at it right now. But let's talk a little bit about the Xbox One and what it's like to use here in 2021. So the Xbox One, believe it or not, will be 8 years old this year. So come November, I believe this came out on the 11th or somewhere around there. But yeah, this came out in 2013. It really is hard to believe that this console is already that old. And of course, we've already had several new versions of the Xbox One, including the Xbox One S and obviously the Xbox One X. That we have now. Now this console, when it came out, was the first of the next gen. Literally a few days later, the PS4 came out, but this console and the PS4 are what really have set up Microsoft and Sony for many more years of success and next gen gaming, of course. These consoles nowadays are, well, I hate to say it, but just as good as your typical gaming PC. And the Xbox One, when it came out, had some pretty decent specs as well. Before we talk about the specs of this thing, let's talk a little bit about the design, because the design when this came out is kind of controversial. So it's not the most prettiest looking Xbox that we've ever seen. Obviously this thing is really much larger than the 360 that came before it. And it's even really still a pretty big console today. But however, when you look at this console and you look at something like the new Xbox One X, yeah, the design of the Xbox One X is now the vertical tower, of course, and again, another very interesting design change, but this kind of makes this one look a lot better in my opinion. So of course we have a all new design. So we still had our disc tray over here, and you have your eject button, which of course is touch sensitive, and then you also have your power button over there on the right, which is also a touch button. Now on the left and the right side, as well as the top, and if I remember correctly, maybe the back, or maybe not, I'm not sure, a whole lot of cooling is going on with this console, because it had, like I said, a pretty large GPU and CPU, and it definitely needed some cooling. So we have a lot of fans all around the console. On the back of it, you have quite a bit of connectivity. So you have a couple of USB ports, you have HDMI, your IOs, your wired connections like your internet and all that stuff. And then there's even another USB port here on the side. Now there of course were a lot of firsts for this console. We had an all new UI design. We had the Xbox Connect, which ended up being a failure. This one did not come with Connect. I did not want that. It came with a standard 500 gig hard drive. Now obviously today SSDs are the way to go, and that's what can kind of make this seem a little dated and a little slower nowadays, since it does have the SSD. But we had 500 gigs of storage, which seemed like a ton. But as you can see, I have a external 1 terabyte Seagate drive on top, because all these games now are ridiculously huge. And then the other thing I got for it is this is a little charging cable for the controller. And that's another thing that we got all new, of course. A little dusty here, but don't worry about it. But we have a all new controller design, and this right here is for a Turtle Beach headset, in case you were wondering. So let's go ahead and power the Xbox up real quick. Now this is from a I guess you could say completely shut off. There is a feature that was added, of course, to where you would have the instant on, so it kind of stayed in like a sleep mode, and that way it would be able to update your games and kind of keep everything going in the background when you were not actually using the console. So that was pretty nice. But yeah, from a dead, or I guess you could say a cold boot, this thing does take a little while to come on here. So just kind of give it a second here to boot up. But there's that new Xbox One boot screen. Everybody always loves the different console screens there. But as you can see, we're now heading towards the home screen here. Okay, so there was an update available, but I just went ahead and skipped it for now. So first off, I want to kind of apologize for the glare from the window. Really nothing I can do about that at the moment. But yeah, here we are on the home screen. So the home screen has changed quite a bit from the original home screen that came with this console about 8 years ago. It used to scroll towards the right. Like if you went all the way to the right, you would end up on some other pages, kind of like how you did on the 360. But now it's going down, as you can see, like that. We are offline, so that's why you don't see as much stuff appearing there. But the thing that really impresses me is after 8 years, this thing still gets updates, and it's not like, you know, just bug fixes and things. It's actual feature updates. I mean, you can't really say that about what, like Apple products, right? So the fact that Microsoft is still supporting the original Xbox One console, I think is pretty impressive. And like I said, if you can deal with maybe not as good a graphics, which I mean, they're still fantastic, but if you can deal with these kind of older looking graphics and a standard hard drive, I mean, you could always buy a external SSD and download your games on that. So we have an 8-core AMD CPU in this thing, and a pretty impressive GPU as well. And there's 8 gigs of RAM too. So I mean, the specs, even today's standards, are still pretty good. So we're just gonna kind of give you like a little idea of how quickly things load. So let's open Forza Horizon 4. And this will just kind of give you an idea of what load times look like on this 8-year-old console. So obviously, if we had the Xbox One X, we would be much farther along right now. But it's still, like, the thing that I'm just trying to get across here is it's not unbearable. I mean, you can definitely still play all the games you want, the latest games. You can still download them, play anything you want. Like I said, it might not be the highest quality, but it's still pretty decent. And I do have the volume down because I'm pretty sure the intro music to Horizon 4 is copyrighted. I don't know, but we're just gonna do it just in case here. But yeah, it's really not bad. Let's see here. A little slow going from, you know, different credit screens to the menu. So yeah, there we go. Now let's see how long it actually takes us to get into the game. You can see kind of freezes up when you hit start game, but it's not bad. It's really still pretty impressive. Okay, so that took about a minute or so to actually get into the screen here. So let's see if we can go out for a drive real quick. All right, so we're out for a little stroll here. And I mean, you know, no dropped frames, even if we're crashing through stuff or going off-road. Really smooth. Yeah, I mean, it's still completely doable. Oh, it's still completely doable here in 2021. It still looks great, and I'm just still really impressed that this console is still supported here in 2021. Even the graphics, even though the graphics aren't as good as they could be, they're just fine. I mean, they really really are. But yeah, guys, I just want to make a quick video showing you the Xbox One in 2021. Let me know in the comments down below what other, I guess you could say, consoles or tech you might want to see using here in 2021. But yeah, guys, anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.